Hello. Uh, Before I get started, I just want a disclaimer. I'm not a medical professional. Most of this information is found through Wikipedia and various Google searches. I'll leave the links in the description about the information I found, so you can look this up if you want to. Yeah, I did think about making this a Science Thursday video because there's a lot of science involved. There's chemistry, biology, psychology, if you call that a science. But since there's so many different things that soda does to you, I thought I'd go ahead and just make this a new series.
What? Another series? Don't you think you had enough?
Yeah, this series isn't going to be as long as the others. This is going to be like a couple months. First Friday of every month for like 3 or 4 months, I think. I'm going to make a video of what soda's doing to you. Partially to try to quit drinking soda. And for quite some time now, I've been trying to lose weight, and I know that soda is a big contributor to that. Back in high school is when I started drinking soda, like really hardcore drinking soda all the time. And I didn't realize how bad I became with soda, within drinking and pop, and how fat I became. I realized I had a big belly, but I didn't realize I was like obese as was until I bought a Wii balance board back in 2006. I think this is when the Wii came out. So it's like, wow, damn, that was 10 years ago. Yeah, but let's just say that I've known that pop was bad for you because of the sugar and the empty calories that cause weight gain. But I'm more interested in this video of how soda affects your actual brain and thinking processes. Because I started off this year, I was doing really good on not buying any pop whatsoever. And then soda went on sale for $12. It's $3 a case. And so I bought 4 cases of soda and drank them, just constantly drinking soda for several days. And my mood just went to hell. My productivity went to shit, and I just pretty much Mark just stopped happening. So that's when I decided to quit drinking soda for real. Like, I keep saying that, for real this time. But I really wanted to research on the effects of soda on the brain. A lot of sites I look up talk about, like, hey, this happens to your brain, but most of them talk about what happens to your body, like weight gain and like other stuff that I want to talk about in the next video. Yeah, and the real two dangers of soda that soda presents is the high amounts of sugar and the caffeine.
Well, soda is basically just caffeinated sugar water. What were you expecting?
Well, there's a third thing that there's in some sodas, 10% of soda, if I understand right. But I'll get to that in a little while. First, I'll talk about the sugar effect of massive amounts of sugar on your brain. I'm fairly certain that most people know about the sugar highs and crashes that lead to irritability, mood swings, brain fog, and fatigue. But what I'm finding out is that with these hikes of anxiety and then depression, that what causes that is the release of serotonin in your brain. And serotonin has a lot of uses in your body, but one of the main purposes is to stabilize your moods. And carbohydrates like sugar release serotonin into your brain. It literally makes you feel happy to eat sugar and carbohydrates.
Sounds like a good thing to me.
The problem it comes from if you're releasing more serotonin than you can actually make in your body. You can only make so much at a time. If you're releasing more than you can create, you're going to actually run low on serotonin, and this will exacerbate the depression symptoms. And abundance of sugar has also been linked to brain inflammation, which is another cause of depression. Yeah, one of the scarier things about sugar is that it can lead to plaque buildup in your brain, which can lead to Alzheimer's, and in the short term it even slows down synaptic activity in your brain, making you literally just think slower. Yeah, another thing about if you're consuming a lot of sugar, you'll start developing a resistance to insulin.
I thought we were talking about the brain, not diabetes.
Yeah, insulin does control the amount of sugar in your blood, and people with diabetes uh, can't produce enough insulin to manage their own blood supply, blood sugar levels. But another interesting thing about insulin is that it also controls brain functions. I didn't know that. Yeah, insulin strengthens the bonds between synapses. So if you're not, if you have a high resistance to insulin, it'll have weaker synaptic activity. Basically, if you're drinking a lot of sugar, you become dumber. That's basically what I'm saying. There's also a chemical in your brain called BDNF. It's called a brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Probably mispronounced that. But this protein, it controls memory and higher learning. And sugar breaks down this protein. Yeah, studies on rats only 2 months of study had noticeable decreases in BDNF. The rats with the lower BDNF had a hard time completing memory and learning tasks, and had trouble with spatial awareness as well. Low BDNF can cause depression, OCD, excessive compulsive disorder, Alzheimer's, I mentioned that again, dementia, Huntington's disease, and schizophrenia. So yeah, some serious shit coming up with sugar. Yeah, and that's just sugar. And thankfully it looks like the damage can be reversed with diet and exercise. And also with fatty acids like omega-3 can actually increase your BDNF levels. The dangerous part of soda is caffeine content. Yeah, caffeine, what it does is it blocks the neurotransmitter called andesine. Probably mispronounced that as well. Andesine in your brain, it lets you know when you're tired.
Wouldn't you just know that you are tired?
I'm going to have to do more research on how the brain knows it's tired, but apparently andesine kind of tells the brain when to tone it down. The main problem with caffeine is it's mildly addictive, and thanks to the nature of addiction, the more you take, the more you'll need to get the same effect. And like sugar, it'll increase your risk for schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. And so yeah, some more scary stuff, some more scary names involved in that. What's interesting with caffeine is it releases the same chemicals in your brain that cocaine and meth does. It triggers dopamine. Yeah, it's hard to do a whole lot of research on dopamine because when you start looking up what dopamine does and how it works, I think when they come up with the names of stuff, some of this stuff, they're paid by the letter.
With bonus points for pronunciation complexity.
Yeah, dopamine is another chemical in your brain like serotonin. It's there to make you feel happy. So if you look at how caffeine releases dopamine and sugar releases serotonin, it's not really hard to see how people get hooked on soda. Yeah, and caffeine use is also linked to depression and anxiety, but there's surprisingly little research on how caffeine affects people's brains on long term. In fact, a lot of studies and research I've done on this video, people just look at how it affects your body and doesn't really affect how your brain works. So it's so you kind of see how people in general kind of think. So people are more concerned about how your gut is going instead of how your head is going. So it's kind of interesting. The third thing that's kind of unnerving about soda, and I don't know, maybe U.S. politics in general, is called brominated vegetable oil. Brominated vegetable oil, it's in about 10% of all sodas. It's mainly in citrus flavored drinks. What it does is it helps keep the citrus flavoring from separating from the pop itself, because the citrus flavors are oil based and the liquid is water based, so you keep the bromine helps keep the stuff from separating. What's interesting is it's banned in Canada, Europe, India, Japan, and about 100 other countries. But it's still legal in America. Yeah, there's a report of a man who drank 2 to 4 liters a day, every day, and eventually he developed memory loss, tremors, fatigue, loss of muscle coordination, headache, ptosis, which is a droopy eyelid, as well as cerium chloride, excuse me, which is a chemical that helps regulate your different chemicals in your blood. And if you don't have a right balance, your kidneys turn off. Yeah, he had to have dialysis before he was able to get sorted out. And the problem was it took a couple months for him to figure out what was wrong with the guy. And what was wrong with him is he had bromeism. Yeah, but bromeism can be caused by excessive soda intake.
You would have to drink a whole lot of pop to get that though.
Yes, but there is a real danger of catching bromeism from drinking too much soda. Yeah, like I mentioned with that poor gentleman before, the symptoms of bromeism is somnolence, again, pronunciations, which is extreme tiredness, psychosis, seizures, and delirium. So it seems like giving up soda is a pretty good idea. A lot of sites suggesting not giving up cold turkey, but unfortunately, the way I do things, if I say, hey, I'm just having a little bit for now, I'll use that excuse for, hey, I'm just using it for a little bit, and I'll excuse a little bit more, and then I'm just back to where I was originally. The only way I know I'm going to quit doing something is just by stop doing it. Just iron will, iron foot, just put down, no more, I'm not doing this anymore. No fancy gimmicks, no tricks, no anything, I just stop. I'm not going to just absent-mindedly just pick up some because I'm walking down the aisle. I'm not going to just drink some because that's when I usually drink it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start, that's one of the main benefits of doing this freezer meal stuff, because when you buy groceries, you do it on purpose. You plan out, this is what you're going to eat at this day, and you have a grocery list, and you can just not put soda on the grocery list. Another good thing is just avoiding the drink aisle altogether.
There is always the flavored waters.
Yeah, some people have had success quitting soda by drinking the flavored waters, but again, those are sugar water, so it's probably best not to drink those too much. And I think I'm just going to stick to good old-fashioned dihydrogen monoxide. So, yeah, that's part 1 of the Soda is Poison series. Soda is Brain Poison. Links to sources are in the description. I think this is going to be a first Friday of every month video series. 3 or 4 episodes, I think. So, yeah, that's thanks for watching. If you have anything to add, it'd be greatly appreciated. Please don't be too critical of my enunciations. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for today. Thanks for watching. Like, favorite, subscribe, all that good stuff. Yeah.